Speech. This is Rachel Guma, and I am with Phyllis Roker. We wanted to talk a little bit about Phyllis, her experience with Brooklyn Free Speech, and her words of wisdom and what she's doing right now during the quarantine. So, Phyllis, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Phyllis Roker, and I'm a public access producer at Brooklyn Free Speech. And the name of my program is Artistic View. And my background, I was born in Miami, and I grew up partially there and in the islands, Bahamas. And I also grew up mostly in New York City, in various parts of New York City. So I think the place where I grew up most was in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Great, that's wonderful. And you used to teach, correct?
Yes, I taught in the New York City Board of Education as a 5th grade, 3rd grade, and 2nd grade teacher.
And these are some of your students?
Yes, those are some of my students at different places, different events.
Phyllis, how did you get involved with Brooklyn Free Speech?
I took a class at Brooklyn Public Library, which related to video and poetry together.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And that's when I was first introduced, because someone from BRIC was holding the class, was teaching the class. And so I began there. And then from that point, I left, went to BRIC and started taking video classes there. Video training, audio training, podcast training.
That's great. That's wonderful. And so you have your show, Artistic View. Oh, let me share this picture of you at BRIC.
This picture is when they're having people come in to teach you different things from different backgrounds related to video.
And so your show is called Artistic View. Do you want to talk a little bit about your process and your program?
Yes, my program, Artistic View, highlights various artists in the community talking about the type of art that they produce. So it can be a painter, it can be a creator of perfumes, any kind of artistic realm that they're in. That's what I focus on.
And there you are in our home away from home in the editing studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you miss it?
Yes, I do.
I miss it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you always talk about creativity and curiosity, and I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, I like when people create things. I like that they go all the way out to follow their dreams to create those things. It could be from something that's found in the trash to something that they create from their mind and put it together and come out with something and be happy about it, be comfortable with what they create. And I admire that about people and how far they would go to do this. I mean, I've found things myself and I've created things myself. I create collages. I paint sometimes. Not that I'm a trained painter. I'm not a trained, I have taken classes in several modes of art. but I'm attracted to people like that. I write poetry. I'm attracted to writers who also write stories and poetry. Most of my friends are writers or artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, part of who I am.
Yeah, you're an artist.
Mhm. Like I just found a piece of wood outside and I was like, oh, I want that piece of wood.
Nice, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, some things you can find on the street are so amazing and interesting, and you can do so many different things with them, and you don't have to pay anything. It's great.
No.
Oh, ah. Okay, so you've also been talking about your genealogy research, and I was wondering if you wanted to share about that a little bit.
Um, my genealogy research started before I even knew it started. All right, I remember many, many years ago when I was in college in the 70s, and I wanted to take a trip to Africa.
Hmm.
And I was presented with the opportunity to go as a student and a photographer. And so I did go. And I wanted to go because I wanted to find out about my culture. That was one of the major reasons. And so I did take that trip. People thought I was crazy, okay, in going because I didn't do a whole lot of studying. I just knew I wanted to go. And so I took that trip and I ended up staying there for almost 2 years and just learning about the culture and meeting people and taking photographs and participating in different artistic events. And that was the beginning. Now, the second time that I started getting a little bit more serious about it was a friend of mine asked me to take a ship with her. She was a librarian, so the librarians were going on a cruise and they were going to the Bahamas. That was one of the stops. And I was like, wow, my family is from the Bahamas. That's the only reason I'll go. So I went to the Bahamas, and while there, I went to a place where I grew up, partially grew up, and I recognized it.
Wow.
And not only did I recognize it, a woman across the street recognized me, even as an adult. And she invited me into her house. She cooked lunch for me, and it just brought back so many memories.
That's
And
incredible.
so that was one of the things that I did. My friend wanted to do a lot of other things. I only went with her because I knew I was going there. And then since then, I've become even more serious about it. And I've done research online. I've joined an organization called African American Genealogy, uh, who does African American genealogy research. They're called AAHGS. And and I've learned even more. It's more serious now that I've learned about my family. I've learned about um, places that they've been, and so that's where I am now. Just trying to, you run into bumps, you stop, you find out a little bit. Just a couple of weeks ago, I found out a new thing about myself. I found out about when I returned to the United States as a child. And I didn't know that before.
Wow.
So that's as far as I am with genealogy. That's my interest.
That's fantastic. It's
Mhm.
so amazing to have that experience of someone remembering you, and oh, that sounds so incredible.
It was. She told me all about her daughter. She called her daughter on the phone and said, "Guess who's here?"
That's fantastic. So, who are these beautiful women?
These are my sisters and my daughter. Okay. I'm the eldest sister in the family.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. My daughter's a teacher. My sister is a doctor. One of my sisters is a doctor, and the other sister is a military woman and a crochet artist.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Hmm.
So, baking, another one of your creative outlets. And everyone who comes to Brooklyn Free Speech knows that Phyllis is an amazing baker. So, sorry, we're going to tempt you with these delicious treats. Who is this, Phyllis?
um, this is a picture of when I learned about vegan baking
Ah,
at a
close
school
to
in
my heart.
Manhattan. And that's my vegan baking class.
Oh, amazing.
Hmm. Baking is my hobby. So even up to now, right now, as a matter of fact, yesterday I baked some cookies, some lemon ginger cookies.
Mm.
So I bake cakes, I bake cookies, I bake pastries. I love baking. My mother was a baker. I mean, my mother's specialty, my mother could bake many, many things, but she baked mostly breads.
Mm.
Now, I don't bake breads. I'm more into cakes and different kinds of desserts.
Mm-hmm. The good stuff.
Bread is good stuff. I'm addicted to bread. That's why I don't bake it.
Ah, gotcha. So, how, another thing that we wanted to talk about is just how you're surviving during this pandemic.
During the time of this pandemic, I've been learning a little bit more about myself. I've been a little more quiet. I also have connected with more friends. I'm organizing. That's one of the major things that I'm doing because, when you're busy in life, you don't stay home. I'm one of the people that don't stay home. So I don't know my apartment. And I don't know that pile over there sitting there that's been sitting there for a while, waiting for me to do something to it. And so during this time, I've done a lot of organization. I've done a lot of throwing things away, junking,
Mhm.
and downsizing. And, basically that's what I've been doing. I've been lucky to have friends who have been very helpful to me because I haven't been outside. It's more difficult for me to get outside and do things and like shopping and, things like that. And so I have different friends who will call me up and say, "What do you need?" And I'm so thankful for having them. And I'll tell them, I mean, one day I may need this thing, or one day one person may not be able to get me something, whereas another person may be able to get me something. So I've been like just mixing friends and finding out and telling them what kinds of things I need. And
Hmm.
so I'm happy to have them. I'm blessed.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I think it's really a time of introspection and almost like it sounds like a cleansing time, like restarting again, and I've really been reconnecting with old friends, and that's been really lovely too. Um that's wonderful. And so I guess just to close, what are some of your words of wisdom that you can offer to our viewers at this time?
think I wrote that down. I do have a word for wisdom. My words of wisdom are to, at this time, embrace life, learn about yourself, learn about things that you want to learn about, new things that you want to learn, and enjoy it. Don't get stressed out about being with yourself. You know, and it's not going to be like this all the time. So be ready for when the world opens up again, and be ready to move with it. Have a plan on what you're going to do, and think places you want to see, places that you miss, plans that you had prior to this time, and you were not able to complete those plans, you know, and do them. You know, I thought that, you know how sometimes you have a plan in your head and you said, oh, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. This time has really made you think, it's made me think about taking care of it today. Don't wait for tomorrow. That's what I've learned.
I love that. I really love that. It's really, yeah, I think we're learning through this, especially, you know, people who haven't been through something like this before, that life is fragile, and it's really important to just take life by the reins and go for it, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Phyllis, it's been really, really lovely to speak with you. It's been such a pleasure to hear about you and your journey and all of your words of wisdom and everything. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So be safe, and we'll see you back at BRIC.
Okay, see you when.
We strove a lane together, laughed at the rain together, sang love's refrain